92.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Do you want to represent your city? This year, you can. Seattle residents who are interested in running for office in 2021 can use democracy vouchers to fund their campaigns for the positions of mayor, city council, and city attorney. The city of Seattle offers one-on-one training for candidates at any stage. Learn more about how to run for office by visiting seattle.gov/democracy voucher or by calling 206-727-8855.
RainierAvenueRadio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at RainierAvenueRadio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Welcome to Real Estate and Money, a half-hour program on RainierAvenueRadio.world designed to help you whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, or renter in real estate. Your hosts are two local professionals who will escort you on your journey. Violeta Strash, who has years of media advertising and marketing experience and brings this extensive knowledge to John L. Scott Real Estate and all our clients. And Tina Lombard, who is a mortgage loan originator with Cardinal Financial with over 28 years of experience. And now here's Violeta and Tina.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Hey, Elsie, how are you?
Hi, good. So I am Violeta today. I'm filling in for Violeta. So it's great to be back.
You're looking fabulous as ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So before we get started, let me give you some phone numbers really quick so you can give us a call just in case you need. Our phone numbers here are 206-717-4490. Again, 206-717-4490. And to start off the show, we always like to have a market update. So Elsie, please, let's get some market updating.
Yes. All right. So this is for the week of May 11th through the 18th. And let's start off with King County. So in King County, we have available 645 homes at the average price of $1,083,000. We have sold 666 homes at the average price of $1,100,000. And in 2020, we have sold 385 homes at the average price of $820,000, which gives us a whopping 34% increase from last year to this year. And now in Pierce County, we have available 253 homes at the average price of $582,000. We have sold 316 homes at the average price of $573,000. And in 2020, we have sold 217 homes at the average price of $417,000, which then gives us an increase of 37%. Wow. And in Snohomish County, we have available 197 homes at the average price of $755,000. We have sold 247 homes at the average price of $733,000. And in 2020, we've sold 165 homes at the average price of $542,000, which gives us an increase of 35%. So wow, this week we're all in the 30s, man. That's a lot of increase from last year to this year.
You know, and that's because, you know, I keep having people asking me, is this a good time to buy? Well, I'm thinking, we just asked that question a year ago and you would have your answer today. But
yes.
You know, the market doing what it's doing, you know, just verified by our updates. Yes, it's a very good time to buy. These things are not slowing down soon.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I kind of noticed that the increase in inventory too is almost doubled from last year to this year.
Right. Yeah.
So
Everything's looking in your favor. So, so I know today we're going to be talking about a buyer series, and Elsie's going to be helping us with that. So if you're thinking about buying, like we just talked about, there are some things that will make the process go a little more smoothly, and things that you need to be aware of. And that's what we're going to help you out with today. And also we're going to be talking to an inspector later on. But before we get started with that, Elsie, let's talk a little bit about buyers.
sure, yeah. So I believe you guys are in a buyer series right now. And so Violeta had left off with what happens once you get mutual acceptance. Is that where we're at? Okay, awesome. All right. So once you are the lucky one, once you are the lucky buyer that the seller has chosen, now the timeline starts. And so the timeline is a mutual acceptance date, and it typically starts off with the earnest money. So the earnest money deposit needs to be made, and that's typically between 2 to 3 days of mutual acceptance, so 48 to 72 hours. And typically it gets deposited into an escrow account, so a third-party escrow account. And these days it's been so convenient. I know that we usually in the past have used checks. However, we are now wiring the money or using Zomcam, I believe it's called, but very convenient. And so you can make your earnest money the same day if you'd like. And all the parties are advised at that point. So next step, we've got addendums that we need to meet. So one of the addendums would be an inspection addendum if you had an inspection addendum in your offer. And so typically that's about, well, these days it's about 3 days or less after the mutual acceptance. At least that's how I do it, so that I can get my buyers in there and get their offer accepted. So what I usually do is I make that call to my inspector and I say, hey, heads up, we're putting an offer in. Would you happen to have any time between, let's say, my offer got accepted today, between now and 3 days from now, just so I can kind of pinpoint that appointment and I can set that up. And when I'm sending my offer over, I say, hey, I've got an inspector on standby. So at least they know that we're proactive and we're ready to move. As soon as they accept our offer, boom, we're there.
Right. So what are some of the things that people are divulged during an inspection? Now, so what do you see that either will stop along or is nothing to really do?
So these days, a lot of people are actually waiving the inspection or doing a pre-inspection. So they're deciding, like, hey, if we're going to move forward with this offer, we are either going to waive it or do a pre-inspection. And in the pre-inspection, you're actually spending the money to, do the inspection prior to, right? Because what you're looking for now are big ticket items like the roofing, HVAC, plumbing issues, electrical issues. So more of the bigger items. I know a lot of people are now waiving just the minor things. And it really does depend on the seller, if they want to do those things, or something that we've done in the past to kind of make it a little bit smoother is get a home warranty insurance. What is that? Home warranty policy, right? Yeah. So, and that's good for the next 12 months that the buyer is in the home, the first 12 months. So that has kind of alleviated a little bit of that, if you're waiving inspection, that's a good thing to have in the offer.
Right. So I know there are some times where people go into buying a contract or signing a contract knowing that there's going to be an issue with roofing, or with cracking that notion. Now, when can you use it as a bargaining chip to get the purchase prices alone? Or do you do that?
You could do that, yes. The whole point is get into the contract first, and then you can negotiate at that point. Yes. So let's say it's a big ticket item, right? Like the roof. It could be that, there's a leak that had happened and the roof needs to be replaced. I would say, yes, use that as a negotiating tool. What can the seller say? No, and then you back out, right? So I would say, yes, negotiate. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get it, but I would say, yes, you always negotiate.
Right. Now, as far as the appraisal is concerned, can you kind of clarify to clients when you order the inspection, when you order the appraisal, what is?
Right. So Tina, it sounds you're sounding a little muffled, so I'm kind of missing a little bit of words. However, okay, so the inspection is ordered right when we get mutual acceptance, right? So like I said, the inspection, I would pre-do that appointment. As far as the appraisal goes, it depends on the person's loan, right? So typically the buyer instructs us, okay, so after the inspection is done and everything is smooth, we're moving forward, there's a mutual there, then that's usually when the appraisal is ordered, correct? Oh, you're muted.
Okay, yeah. No, that's, actually when the inspection is done, because we don't want to order an appraisal, which is having to be paid up front, like a good $750 or $675 or something. If there is an inspection that's going to stop the appraisal, because usually we snatch that appraisal money up front. And if you're not going to proceed with the house, then we need to stop the appraisal.
Right. Yeah. Now, if you know that you're moving forward, right, then, by all means, I would say, if we're doing the inspection within 3 days, after the third day, we would know whether or not we're moving forward or not. So that's really important, especially in this market, that you get the inspection done earlier so that the appraisal can be ordered as well. And then it usually takes about a week or two to get that report back.
10 days. Absolutely, about 10 days.
Okay, yeah. So just kind of having things move right along, and even, a possible closing that sooner than the 30 days.
Right. A lot of people, they do say skip the inspection if it's warranted. And if you do an FHA loan or a government loan, sometimes they forewarn you, please do not skip the inspection, because right then and there is where you're going to have most of your crucial expenses before you close a loan with things you're not dealt with.
Yes.
So how much do you advise your clients to set aside for the inspection financially? Because a lot of my clients get confused between the appraisal that we ask for and the inspection.
Yeah. I typically say between $350 and $500. Now that can increase as well. So that's kind of the range that I've been telling people is about $350 to $500.
Great. Yeah, that's good. A lot of my clients, I try to tell them, the appraisal is $650 or whatever it is. And they say, well, I just paid for the inspection. And I tell them, well, the inspection, I think, is a little bit more important than the appraisal.
Right.
It's a lot more important than appraisal. Yeah.
Right. So the inspection is actually for the buyer, right? To know the history of the home, if there's anything that's wrong with it, and to address some of the future maintenance that will come with the home. The appraisal is actually for the bank to see, like if the assets are there, if the home is worth that much, and it's an asset to you folks as a lender. So you want to make sure that that value is there for them.
That's exactly it. And sometimes we don't want to cross over. If there's something with the appraisal that we see, like if it's an FHA loan and there's chip and paint, or there's stairs, or the appliances don't work and it's unlivable, FHA will stop the appraisal and say you need to get this fixed before we actually will lend on the property.
Right.
So with us, we don't advise clients to go and tell the appraiser everything that's wrong with the house. If there's something that's blatant, of course they're going to notice it, but let them notice it on their own. A lot of times we don't want to see the inspection report. We don't need to know information that we don't need to know. Can you speak about that a little bit? Because I get a lot of clients who say, well, I want to meet the inspector, I want to meet the appraiser, I want to tell the appraiser everything's wrong with that house. I'm like, oh, can you speak to that a little bit?
Right. Yes, absolutely. So as far as the buyer and the inspector, because the buyer is ordering or hiring the inspector, they get to meet. Now, I have had people say, well, who is this appraiser? Can I talk to them? Can I, give them my feedback, especially if I'm representing the seller, right? And so I say, okay, well, the appraisers are a third party, and that gets hired by the lender. So I don't know. It's not like we can pick and choose who comes in. I have no history or nothing that I know of, except for, they'll call and they'll ask if the key box is on the door. And that's the only time that I would know that, hey, it's okay for, we're doing the appraisal on a certain day. So yeah,
Yeah, and I'm glad you're saying that, because a lot of times the appraisers, we have nothing to do with the appraisal. We always have to tell our clients we have to go through an appraisal management company to show that we are no way affiliated with the appraiser. And no, we don't want them going there and pointing out little creeks and it's not going to lower the value of the purchase price. It's not going to do any of that. It's just going to stop the loan, period. It's just going to stop the transaction. So, and a lot of times the realtors, if they get questionable value, the realtors can't talk to the appraiser a certain way, neither can the lenders. We have to go through all these little secret ninja codes and stuff to get to them, just to make sure that we're not influencing the outcome of the value.
Right, absolutely. Now, I've had appraisers call, though, after, like as they're gathering other information for the report, to say, hey, by the way, are there any other sold homes that weren't reported on the MLS, or something to that sense, asking about value and about, some other comps that may have happened in the past. So I've had them call and, of course, fill in the information. I've had other appraisers for other properties call and ask if there was any kind of concessions, because they want to know what concessions were. And so concessions are closing cost. And, if the value of the home that was purchased, let's say $350,000, if there was a $10,000 concession. And I think the appraisers do take that into consideration.
Yeah, and this crazy backup market, they're doing that because the prices of houses are going up while they're
right.
So I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this halfway mark. We're going to bring in a guest to further talk about the inspection. So Dan, take it away with our halfway mark.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Here's your host, Violeta, Strash, with Cardinal Scott Kent North, and Lombard, who is a mortgage loan originator with Cardinal Financial. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
All right. Thank you for coming back. And now we've got a very special guest with us today. And our guest is going to be talking to us about inspections.
Yes.
So Brian is here with us today. Brian, can you please come on?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Brian Dodds, how are you?
Hi, Brian.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what an inspector is?
Yes, I'm with Titan Inspection Services. Started a little company about 3 years ago. I like helping people with their homes, and I thought, hey, I could help them. I got a construction background, and so I started. Now we've got 8 inspectors, and we're cruising right along, helping everybody out. Home inspections, when I was listening to you guys earlier talking about it, we're coming in and just trying to tell people the current status, the current state of the home. And we don't necessarily look at all the homes like code enforcement might look at homes. We're just looking at things and saying it works. It's kind of working or it's not working. And then we try to relay that information to real estate agents and whoever it is that needs the information to have a conversation. Say, hey, here's what the house is that we thought we were buying. Is it what we thought? Is it something different? And if not, then we can answer any questions. We can talk about what things might cost, who they might need to call, how those things might work out, all that good stuff.
Well, I get a lot of clients and they say, okay, we're inspecting the property, but what are they inspecting? So just, just overall, just a short list. What are some of the key items that you look, like the electrical system, the plumbing? What are the key things that you inspect?
Yeah, you're hitting them there. We start top to bottom. We'll look at the roof, obviously the siding. We're looking at the quality of the paint. You were talking about FHA, whether or not there's flaking paint. We'll look at the panel. We'll look at the electrical service. We'll look at the plumbing, heating. If you have an AC unit, again, we're operating it. We're not necessarily getting a real deep dive into everything that it's doing, but we'll tell you if we think things are at the long end of its life. We'll also look into things, whether or not we hear people say a lot of things about foundations or crawl spaces or attics, and we'll tell you the condition of those, whether or not we think that there's problems with those areas or if there's things that they should start to look at or take care of. Like an easy one is downspouts that drain near the house. These old houses, they never had underground drainage systems. So now when we build houses, we put underground drainage systems in place. And I think that the older houses sometimes have settled a little bit and people get concerned with why they're settling, if they're going to continue to settle. And there's a pretty easy solution, and that is just, let's just direct that water right away from the house, and we can solve that problem and keep it from continuing to move.
So I know that there's sewage. That's usually a big problem sometimes. The sewage goes all the way out to the street and all that good stuff. Do you also look at sewage? And
yeah, so we can do sewer scopes while we're there, and they have these expensive cameras that you can go in and clean out, or in a vent stack, or pull a toilet, and you can actually get eyeballs going right down the line, and you can actually see what the condition of the pipe is, see if it has a low spot, or maybe a break, or maybe there's a blockage or some roots. And I have found it to be pretty fascinating. I used to sub it out, and now we do them in-house, and I think it's easier to coordinate for everybody with the real estate agents and all that good stuff. But I do find that I've evolved. I used to think that new houses don't need a sewer scope. And I had this instance where I had this fellow, I was at his house, and he was a brand new house. He wanted me to do a sewer scope. And I said, why do you want me to do a sewer scope on a new house? And he says, well, I had this instance down in Florida, a new house that I bought. And I moved in, I had a blockage in my backyard, and I had to tear out all the concrete. And I said, well, that seems like a good enough reason to get a sewer scope. You're probably a little bit, high strung about that stuff now. And he says, yeah, I just want to make sure there's nothing wrong. I said, what happened? He said, I don't know. Somebody broke the line after it was installed, and nobody had made note of it, and everything in terms of construction, there wasn't a lot of water running. Now all of a sudden he found it. So then I said, okay, that's a good idea. Let's go check yours out. This guy must have a Midas touch, because I go down his line. Sure enough, it was broken here. And I said, man, you are sharp. I said, what I think happened is the landscaper probably poked a hole in it with a breaker bar, and then he didn't tell anybody. He covered it up and ... So, hey, you never know. It's always a good idea to go down there and take a look, and you never know what you can find.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, because I was going to ask, as far as age goes, is there a certain age that the house needs to be in order for you to do the sewer scope? So thank you for covering that. I think a lot of people have the assumption that the old houses, we live in an area where, like Seattle and Tacoma, those are older areas that generally have older sewer lines, and most people are apt to be told by their their real estate agents to take care of that. I find that now, all the stuff that I've seen in these lines, I just think it's a good verification. It's nice for you to know for a couple $100 what's the condition of your sewer line. It's an expensive repair if you have to get involved in it, and nobody wants to find it out after they've moved into their fancy new home and say, oh my gosh, now I got this problem I got to deal with. And I just think people feel a lot better and more comfortable when they know what they have.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So in this really crazy market, Brian, how many pre-inspections versus inspections are you doing?
So it's an interesting dynamic. Yes, it's quite active out there. A lot of people are saying they're waiving inspections. We are busier than ever. What I think is happening is that people are trying to get in quicker, quicker time frames, whether it's 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. Can you get in this afternoon? Number two, some people are even actually asking, hey, can I just get you to come and look at the big items, which you guys were talking about? And then I don't really necessarily need a report right now or something like that. And then some people that are selling their homes are being educated by the real estate agents, which I recommend. I think it's a good idea to tell people what you're buying, which I think lends itself to people that are buyers not having to go pull an inspection if they trust our inspection. So I'm talking to my inspectors how to do the same inspection, whether they're doing it for a pre-inspection or when they're doing it for a buyer. It's no different. Just do a good job, care about people, talk to them in real terms. I always tell them to be themselves and tell people their opinion. I think that can help people make a decision instead of, let me give you a bunch of technical code mumbo jumbo or talk to you about this old house as though it was a new house or this or that. Hey, we got to talk in real terms. We got to talk about the marketplace and how this can get a little crazy sometimes. And just to get into a house would be hard, let alone start talking about all these conditions on a house.
Right.
Well, real quick, because I've had some situations where somebody did a full inspection and then a month down the line, something popped, something burst. So there was a crack in the tile or something, and the inspectors didn't see it because it wasn't obvious. Do most inspectors come bonded, or what type of insurance do you have to cover should you miss something? Or is that a thing?
Well, I have a unique perspective on it. It's just me personally, but yes, you're not required by the state of Washington to have insurance, but it's a good idea to have insurance. I have insurance, but I believe in self-insuring. What I mean by that is that I should stand by the things that I say. And I think that out there in the marketplace, you should have people working for you that actually, if they miss something on a report or they didn't notice something, you should be able to call me on the phone and I should get my fanny out there and take a look at it. And you know what? If I need to come out there and take care of it, or get my guys out there to take care of it, or pay to get it fixed, that should be something I should take care of. I am a bit surprised in the home inspection arena at how many people tell me that home inspectors don't necessarily back to work. They always just try to dismiss it. And I go, that's how I learn. That's how I get better, is when I go out there and I learn from these experiences and say, you know what? You're right. I'll give you an example. I had a guy, brand new flip home, and he calls me about 2 months after, and he was kind of upset about his master bathroom shower. And he says, it's pouring out the back of my house. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, what's going on? So I go running out there that night, and I meet up with him, and he's kind of a little bit guarded. You know, he's kind of like, how could you miss this? I go looking at his shower, and I go turn it on, and it's pouring out the back of his house. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're totally right. So I look at it. What happened is the flippers came and got the shower pan, and there's a collar that goes onto the drain line, and it tightens it to itself, but it was all hidden underneath the shower. So what the guy did is he ground off all the flange barbs on there, and he actually just glued it to the bottom. So now when this guy's using it, he starts using it. Next thing you know, it loosens up and then water starts pouring out. They had connected it wrong. Oh, I can't see it from the top. But my point is, I wouldn't want to be in that situation where I got this crappy shower. So I said, hey, let me get my guy over here. I got a hold of my contractor. $1,500 later, I pulled out the shower pan. I put a new shower pan in, took care of it. I said, it's on me. Guy says, man, I appreciate you backing up your work.
Wow, that's excellent. Yeah, that's excellent.
That's why we have you on the show, Brian, because you're
well,
what's the name of your company again?
Titan Inspection Services. Hey, you know what? I think we got almost 700 5-star reviews. I'm proud of it. I want people to know that we should earn every one of those. And I think that it's my job, and I think it's inspectors' job to go out there and earn business, not just go out there and have a name. And I think people need to understand that. They need to know when they're hiring a good real estate agent, they're not just an agent, they're a real estate professional. Or if they're hiring a home inspector, do you have one that actually cares about you? And does a lot of people say that these guys are good, or is it just a guy that has the name and he's local? And then price. You guys might be surprised how much my price is. Do you know what my price is?
I was gonna ask. Under 500.
I saw 350 on your website.
I got a flat rate of 350. Doesn't matter the size of the house.
Wow.
Say, you're crazy. You're going to do a 7,000 square foot house for 350. And I say, absolutely. I look forward to come out and checking out that beautiful 7,000 square foot house. It's going to be fun.
Melissa, I'm going to say your number one more time. Then we've got some promotions to go into. But I thank you so much for joining us. I think we've learned a lot just from your few moments here with us. Our numbers. Brian's number is 206-408-6779. Again, 206-408-6779, and he is with Titan Inspection Services. So make sure you give him a call.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find us online too at TitanInspectionServices.com too if you need to check.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
You guys. Yeah. Take care.
All righty.
That is awesome. But here, we got a few more promotions before we leave. This week the promotions include, it is American, Asian, and Pacific Islander Month once again. Okay, so make sure you're out there celebrating. Also, there's basketball with Lincoln High and Cleveland on Tuesday, Roosevelt at Rainier Beach Vikings Wednesday, and Franklin at Rainier Beach Friday. All games for girls are at 5:45, and the boys are at 7:30 p.m. And baseball O'Day at Garfield Thursday at 3:30. And remember, there is a show right after ours, and it's an encore of R&R live jam session. So let us know if you have any pics or videos you want us to show on the show. And if there's any questions you may have or any topics you want to discuss, we are open for suggestions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be filling in next week as well for V. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, thanks for
Real
joining.
Estate and Money.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Real Estate and Money with your hosts, Violeta, Strash, and Tina Lombard. For more information, call 206-717-4490. That's 206-717-4490. go to the Rainier Avenue Radio.world website to find the real estate and money schedule, or tune into our live show every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3. We will help you find your dream home.